Alright guys, welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, where we are the German Reich and trying to change the course of history. First thing first, we can have another advisor. By the way, we can change how many people we want to get into the war. And right now we don't need to change anything because we still have a lot of manpower available. Later we need more, the army needs to grow. For now we can get away with it, and I'd say we work on our material design. Mauser, small arms research time, Rheinmetall artillery research time, and Opel motorization research time. I think we go for that. For Mauser, that is a famous German weapons manufacturer. As I said, it's pretty historically accurate, or really accurate. Things there really exist. And what general stuff? What do we have? A bitter loser. Alright, interesting. So Hitler was a bitter loser. Yeah, that's kind of true. We could talk about that. How was it even possible that the Nazis came to power in Germany? And right now there's not much action. I'm sorry for that, guys, but we need to wait it out. We need to be a bit sneaky. We cannot just blindly attack states. We would cause England to join the war instantly, and that would be really bad for our position. Ideally, we want France to get mad and, then prepare for an invasion of France without London really caring. You know, when I say London, I mean the United Kingdom, of course. So, how did that even work? Why did the people think voting for the Nazis, because they got voted into power, was a good idea? And when we're talking about sore losers, let's talk about the end of World War I, when the Allies were really pissed about Germany being, one of the main parties in the war. They thought, we gotta punish them. We gotta punish them hard. Construction here is finished. Let's go for excavation and improve how much resources we can gather. Well, they thought to punish Germany really hard. They even wanted to split up Germany into many small states and make them a rural country, have them have no industry. And, together with the collapse of the stock exchanges, that caused an extreme inflation in Germany prior to the rise to power of the Nazi party. It was actually Republican Spain was annexed. We have nationalist Spain down there now. Our buddies, they are Nazis too, or fascists, and therefore people were starving. My grandma, civil war ended. Oh, that caused some world tension. My grandma told me, as a little girl, she was actually playing with stacks of money. Stacks and stacks and stacks of building, and they made building blocks out of those stacks, and they were stacking them on top of each other to play with it because it was worthless. People were poor. My grandma, she was from a rich family because her father was educated and she was making a lot of money, and they lived in a villa in the midst of the slums, literally. That's how she explained it. Around her, families with very many children, trying to support their parents, but being super poor, the workers' class. That's also why the Nazi Party addressed them. They, as I explained in the last episode, National Socialist Arbeiterpartei, Workers' Party, because the main force of German people were workers, and they were poor as shit, and they were really, really unhappy because of all the punishment that came after World War I. And when people have no money, are desperate, they tend to go to extreme measures. That's, how these populist parties work in nowadays as well. They address the poor, the uneducated, and say, hey, we're gonna change it for you. We're gonna give you a chance in life. So let's look at that. That would be way ahead of time. Maintenance companies, we don't really need that. Rocket artillery is also way ahead of time. Logistic companies, we don't really need that. Signal companies, that would be pretty nice to have. Yeah, that's slightly ahead of time. It will increase our defense for pretty much all armies. That is good. Let's research that. So yeah, lots of poverty in Germany, and that's how the Nazis could get a foothold. Oh, we have deployed our infantry divisions here. Really good. That is obviously nice. Now we should have enough manpower in the field actually to do the Anschluss. Yes, we can. So that is our next move, and then we're gonna demand the Sudetenland. Try to get into Czechoslovakia. We need a few more troops. How many do we actually have in the field? 626,000. Let's quickly check. We're recruiting, how much is that? About 10 more. That's another 11,000. That's about 80,000 here. 70 something thousand. And we have 620. So we should definitely deploy a bunch of more troops. Maybe we can do some cavalry divisions, edit them and use them as suppression forces. That would be pretty smart. Let's quickly double check back while we keep on rolling here in the timeline. 550, and what was that? 750. So it's quite a lot more. Yeah, we should get to that right away. Our cavalry, we're gonna use that to suppress people. Let's see what a good symbol is for suppression. Look through that. The fist. Cavalry have a pretty good suppression rate. Suppression 2 per unit, and yeah, they don't really need support artillery, to be honest. You know, make them cheap. Combat width is 8. Is there, can you see how much how many people? It's only 1,000. That's not much. That's not much. We probably should get more infantry then, deploy them too. But because yeah, if we make, I don't know, 20 of those, that's 4,000 each. If we make 20, that's another 80,000 manpower. That's not very much. You get like 5 times the amount of an infantry division. So yeah, we want that. We want that as quickly as possible. But first, let's save that and leave it like that. That's our suppression force. We're gonna need them rather sooner than later, but we should train more of those divisions. Let's make another infantry division of 24. That should give us enough. So that's 1, 6, 11, 16, 21, 1, 2, 3, 24. Good. Let's keep on cranking out that infantry. Another 17 divisions here, and they are gonna be assigned to this dude there. So yeah, a nice sized army, and this guy we're gonna use to line up on the French border here and make sure they protect us, the Germans here, from an invasion from the west, which never gonna happen anytime soon. But you know, gotta be sure. So we were talking about the propaganda and things. People were poor. That's why they were susceptible for the propaganda means of the Nazis. And let's assign this guy here to Rommel in the meantime. And yeah, that's how things work. If you put people on dire straits, they're gonna tend to run for more extreme measures. So also using new media, as I said, the radio, the cinema shows, new media, and nowadays, that is a thing too. You can see, interestingly, for example, right now we have the elections, running up to the elections in the United States, and both candidates, Clinton and Trump, are exceedingly using Twitter and the internet to get their message across, and that is how it works. You can see many of the things. For example, Trump is saying, "Oh, and there's some noise outside. Gotta close that window." It's also quite populist, saying, for example, the Mexicans are illegal aliens, and all of them immigrants, not only the Mexicans, are stealing your jobs. And obviously, what jobs is he talking about? Jobs for workers, for less educated people. And a lot of people go like, yeah, that's it. The real problem lies somewhere else, of course. It's not that Mexicans are taking jobs. Mostly immigrants take very low paid jobs, which most people really don't want to have. But that's, for example, one of the populist measures that wasn't used by the Nazis and still shockingly works well today. Okay, so now it's time for the Anschluss. Let's bring the Austrian fellas home, like Hitler used to say. He said, Heim ins Reich, home to the Reich, to Germany. Let's join us. Let's see how long that takes. Only 70 days. And then we're gonna get a few more troops out of that. That will bring us closer to the goal of annexing Czechoslovakia. So, okay, now we have the Marco Polo Bridge incident. That is the Japanese-Chinese situation down here. That caused quite some tension. Japan was also allied with the Nazis. The main reason, they did that was Hitler was thinking, if Japan would bind the United States forces in the Pacific Ocean here, and that's why the Pearl Harbor incident happened, they would be occupied with fighting the Japanese and wouldn't worry about Europe. States here, Atlantic, Pacific, Europe, Asia. So if you attack the Americans from this side and keep them busy here, probably they have to deploy most of their navy to the Pacific and couldn't worry about what's happening in Europe. And that strategy worked fairly well. A lot of people say until the USA finally entered World War II, it was really late. In real history, that obviously tipped the balance quite a lot. And Germany then was fighting on 4 fronts, pretty much 3 to 4 fronts at the same time, as the plan for Italy was, you can see there's France had lots of interest, time of the colonization, before 1900s, 1800 and earlier to that. France and England had a lot of influence all around the world, not only in Africa, but a lot in Africa and over here and everywhere. So they thought, okay, Italy had some interest there too, Libya. And that's the other plan of Hitler of the Nazis was let Italy keep France and United Kingdom busy in Africa. They probably want to try to defend their regions there because a lot of their goods and trade goods came from Africa. They exploited these countries. So let Italy do their thing down here in Africa and keep them busy there too. So Germany easier to deal with Central Europe. In reality, that didn't work out too well. The Italians didn't prove as very, very good fighters, and the Nazis had to come to help them and send troops to Africa to support the Italian struggle against the British. So right now we have naval dockyards available. Let's see. Let's keep pumping out submarines here mainly. That's what we're gonna focus on. They're not really great submarines yet, but let's continuously make them and deploy them to Schleswig-Holstein, I think. Yeah, let's deploy them to here. That's Kiel, Hamburg, and keep pushing submarines out there. So the basic plan was good in a sense of strategy, but many things failed, and that's just how stuff goes. So let's look for a military high command here. Yeah, let's get Rommel. Our armored divisions, tank divisions, will gain a 15% attack and defense bonus. So that's good. So he's in the field and also an advisor now. And let's keep on pushing towards the Anschluss. And at the same time deploy armies. Yeah, if all our armies deploy, we have definitely enough forces to really push further and get Czechoslovakia. Maybe we can also get Lithuania. There's another deal for that. Get the Memel region. Okay. Construction that would be quite far ahead of time. That's high cost to pay. Let's go for radio detection, and then we can get better computing machines and get our development up. Radar detection along the coast here is probably also not the worst idea. And right now our factories are coming along nicely. We have 70 and most of them are working, you know, on building more stuff here quicker, which is good. We have like 45 assigned or so, and some we are using for trade. So that is good. We can already say we need more military factories. So those are those. And we gonna crank that up. We're gonna use the eastern Newfoundland here in Poland and really spam military factories like crazy to get the war machine running. Here we go. Let's do all of that. Everything east of Berlin, crank out factories for our military production. Yeah, let's use Sachsen, Brandenburg and Mecklenburg as well, and keep that a bit clean. So because here is gonna be some bombing and stuff eventually, so we want to have our factories in the east. We're gonna keep the Russians at peace with us, and so stuff should be relatively safe over here and not be bombed. Let's look if there is some resistance anywhere. No, Polish are like, they gave up. They were like, all right, we're part of Nazi Germany now. Let's just deal with it. Okay, let's assign Rommel's troops here and see how much progress we have with our Anschluss. Okay, about 50 days until the Anschluss. Excavation happened. Pretty good, man. We're researching so much stuff. Let's look around a bit what we can do next. Engineering. Do we want to work on atomic power? No, we really don't have to. Tanks. We have pretty good light tanks. The big tank here is not good. Here is the famous Tiger tank. We have some bonuses to research that, but pay a lot of ahead of time penalties. Anti-tank we don't really need because we got tanks, and our tank have a lot of firepower, so that's not really necessary for us to research that. Let's look at this stuff here. Well, we could have maintenance companies. That is important a bit later. I'd say we research some radio technology. Why not? Okay. Doesn't really have a plan. We can, in the meantime, assign some plans to our troops here as well. So, Rommel. No, wait. No, we don't want that. We want Mr. Rommel. This is this dude here. He should cause havoc in the western part of Czechoslovakia. Push forward into Prague, grab their capital quickly, and the other dude probably do something like that, you know, to distract some of the defending forces, bind them in the east, while we push in on the western front line. And another tank popped up, really good. So right now we're preparing for some wars. After that we probably quickly want to grab Budapest and Hungary and Romania, Lithuania. But yeah, as I said, we gotta be smart about it. We cannot just ruthlessly attack, otherwise we have a world war at hand really quickly and have to deal with a lot of stuff. And we don't want that. We want to quietly prepare our war machinery and then wreck everybody. Okay, aircraft designer, ship designer, not too important, chief of navy, chief of air force. Let's look into the military high command. Logistics, very important. Let's pick Werner from Fritsch. You have a logistics tab here. Green is good, that means supply can flow nicely. If you, for example, later expand to Africa and so on, supply routes is very important, and you got to manage that smartly. But we'll get to that eventually. We'll probably do some stuff in Africa, South America, and so on. Probably invade Canada at some point. Yeah, the Canadians, what do they have in common? Well, you know, United Kingdom is sitting here, and eventually if you defeat the UK, Canada is gonna take the role of a leader in the war, so we probably have to invade them at one point. Poor Canada. Yeah. What did they do? Well, they were part of the alliance as well, and they were fighting Germany, as many countries around the world. And here we go. We have the Anschluss completed. Welcome to the Reich. And yeah, tensions built. That was that Marco Polo incident I was talking about. And there you have it. We now have this region too. Belong to us. Austria. And now we can go to demand the Sudetenland rather quickly. We could befriend Japan. In the meantime, that's gonna take 70 days. Yeah, let's befriend Japan. Our buddies. It's in reality it happened too. And yeah, we got a few more troops out of that. They are stationed along the Italian border here. We don't have to worry about Italy. But how many troops do we have in the field now? It should be close. If we deploy a few more, we should be fine. There is cavalry here. We don't really need that yet. But hey, that's nice. That's a bunch more troops. So let's get them. These guys plus those and assign them to the Western Front. Japan is declaring. They're sitting up here in the mountains, have some attrition. Why don't you go to the Western? There's some cavalry here. We don't really need to have cavalry there. Let's pull them out and send them up to Berlin. Let them sit there for now. Okay, you and... Yeah, Japan. You're fighting your wars too. Okay, you... Where are they? You... Yeah, you join here. You two. You join there too. You come here. You... And let's do it one by one. And you. So that troop is filled up. And let's make sure we send them over. So you need to have a plan. You go right there. And you three too. You also go there. Good. Now we have a few more troops. We can assign them to this guy. Let's let them march away first, so it's easier for us to see. This is 6. Yo, guy. You go there. Okay. So you go here. You go there. You too. You and you. Okay. And we want you... Can we mark more? Yes, we can. We want you to hang out here at the border too. Oh no. God dang it. Ah, it's the same freaking colors. I hate it. Wait. You can't have that. No. Get released. Oh, and there is the time. So we finished the Anschluss. Screwed up there a little bit in the end with the army assignment, but we'll fix it. And yeah, next time I'm pretty sure we can claim the Sudetenland and invade Czechoslovakia. And then, you know, we increased our territory considerably. So, in any case, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have questions, always feel free to ask them in the comments. See you soon. I'm out. Bye, guys.